What's up, y'all? Valentine with the Barber Game Podcast. Let's do this. Stay focused. Make great things happen.
Welcome to the Barber Game Podcast. I go by the name of DJ Meek Chops.
Hey people, this is Smith.
What it do? This is Marcus.
This is the
Barber Game Podcast.
man, good. Can't
Good.
complain.
Good.
Very blessed. Very blessed.
That's what's up. Let's get right into it, man. This week's guest, man, he don't even need no introduction, but we definitely gonna give him his 30 years experience, man, shop owner, instructor, Cosmo, and barber, and instructor on both. Man, resume speaks for itself, man. Seattle native, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And there he is, Mr. Valentino.
Valentine.
Say what up, man?
Valentine.
How's everybody doing?
What's
Hey,
up,
man,
man?
I'm glad you made it on here, bro.
Yeah, it was a little, wasn't sure.
Is that Italian or what is?
Italian.
Okay.
My dad was Italian, Greek, and
Okay.
mom was Russian, Irish.
Okay.
That's what's up, man.
When I
So,
said Valentino, you looked at
Valentino, yeah, the thing. Yeah,
Funny.
facts. I need some Parmesan cheese on that joint. That's fire.
What's funny is the Russians and the Irish don't get along, but yet my mom's folks got together, and then the Italian Greeks don't get together. They don't get along, and my dad's folks got together. I'm like, damn.
it seems like the forbidden is more attractive.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Some
of course,
aspects,
sure,
yeah.
of course.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
So, man, where do we start? The inspiration, over 30 years experience. So, like, where do you want to just literally start? This is 90, what? 90, what year?
94.
94.
is,
And that's when
yeah,
you open up your
started.
shop?
Yeah, I was living in L.A. and about 6 months before the riots,
The riots.
the 92 riots, I moved out and got up here. My uncle said, luckily, I had someone good in our family, He basically told me come up here and get a full-time job and go to school full-time and you can live with me for free. And I was like, yo, what?
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
I was in so much trouble in Los Angeles. I think I had 7 warrants for my arrest, and basically came up here, and this dude lived down this private road in West Seattle, like right on the water. And I was like, I mean, there was no sound of anything. And, L.A., you hear nothing but gunshots every 3 days, just madness. And it was just so crazy, just the complete change. And he just said, get up here. And I was like, how do you go to school and work full time? He goes, you'll figure it out. And so I was in automotive paint and design school. And I was all about the cars growing up. I think I was like 15 or 16 when I painted my first car. Always been huge into cars. My mom calls me up one day and she's like, I want you to go to hair school. And I was like, well, that's great, Mom. That sounds cool. And she's like, no, I really want you to go to hair school. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe we'll talk after I graduate, the school that I'm already in. And she's like, no, you need to go now. I was like, I'm not. So we get in this argument, right? And she's like, I already made an appointment for you to go to a hair school. Interview already set up for you. And I was like, well, you can cancel it because I'm not going.
So that's what pretty much got you into barbering. Is your mom motivated?
I had this mentor named Larry Mendoza. He was my mom's friend, and he basically told me, when you graduate from high school, you don't know what you're going to do. So go to hair school. It's going to take 6 to 8 months. come out making money. As you figure out what you're going to go to school for, you're going to be cutting. You're going to get better. The word's going to get out. You're going to raise your prices up a little bit. You're going to be sought after in the school. You're going to be able to pay your money towards your tuition, towards your... You're not going to graduate with a huge debt over your head, because a lot of, what do they say, 70% of the people who go to school, they don't work in an industry that they went to school for, because they graduate and they have such a huge debt over their head that they're just going to take any job to start paying it down.
Right.
But then they advance in that career. When a job opening opens up for the position that they went to school for, they want to jump on it, but it's financially lower than what they're making now.
Yep.
So for them to cross over,
You got to slide backwards a little bit.
Doesn't make financial sense.
it doesn't make financial sense. So he said, go to hair school, figure out what you're doing. As you pay off your debt, you could take your time figuring out what you really want to go to school for, figuring out where you really want to land with that job. And I was like, okay, this actually makes sense. I was...
How old were you then? Like 17, 18?
When, I was probably 14.
14?
When I met Larry Mendoza, he was just telling me. And then I got into high school, and I fucked everything up. I went to like 8 high schools in 3 years, and it was...
That's bad. 8 high schools in 3 years?
Yeah, I was
You didn't
a
get a chance
difficult...
to buckle down at all.
I questioned all authority. I challenged everything.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, but I graduating, actually never graduated, but getting into the job market, I worked like 22 jobs before I was 20. So when I finally ended up going to hair school, so let's back up a little bit. So my mom's convinced me to call up and cancel this interview, and I was like, this is crazy. You made the interview. I'm not going to call up. You made it. You cancel it. Well, moms, man, they always got that manipulation. And so I called up the school, and the woman's like, oh, yeah, hey, Valentino, I know you aren't interested in school. I know that, but let me I really want to meet you. Just let me take you out to lunch. And I was like, huh? Really? Older woman want to take me out to lunch. I'm like, this is kind of weird. But it was kind of a good time because, man, at that time, like 6 months before, I was going through like straight hell. Walked in on my girl with some other dude. So, man, I was like a year earlier. So my head was all messed up. And so I was like, man, let me go talk to this older woman and see what's up. I walk into the hair school. She goes, meet me at the hair school. We're going to go to this Italian restaurant. I was like, oh, yeah. So I go into the hair school, and I look around, and I see like 35 women.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. I looked at my fingernails, and I was like,
Yeah.
I could go to school with these women, and I could dress up. I've always been obsessed with clothes and dressing up, growing up in the church. That's, you had to dress back in those days. I think these parents let the kids wear anything nowadays, but...
Pretty much.
Come as you are, man. Come as you are.
I was, amen. So I was seeing this hair school, and I was like, wow. I walked up to the front counter, and I said, how do you sign up? What does it take to get in here? And she's like, oh, hang on, let the owner come out and talk to you. And she's like, wait a minute, she's like, you weren't interested. What happened? And so I told her, I said, man, I can be clean and go to school with women. She's like, you got to understand, like, at that time, the hair industry was like the last chance for women, because it was like, there's that term beauty school dropout. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like their last chance. Back in the days, it was their last chance on a
career, but
doing something.
Their perspective was kind of tweaked though, because it's a nice industry to get into, and it strikes independence.
Yeah.
So I think they're in hindsight, they were trying to frown on women really striving for their independence.
Okay, I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a question. What about does your mom? How did that whole like intuition of hair come about for her? Like she just called you out the blue and said, "This is where you need to be. This is what you need to do." Does she do hair?
No.
No. Did you ever ask her like what made you call me or anything like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Me and my mom's is tight. Basically, she just said that she had a dream and I was doing hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You were crazy."
Yeah. Came through a
I was
dream.
like, "I'm a man. I don't be playing with people's hair and shit like that. Fuck that."
Right.
And she was like, "No. You need to calm down and think about it." And I'm glad that it happened because what do they call the shoemaker shoes? You know, so the shoemaker shoes.
Oh, shoemaker.
He would never have shoes for his own feet because he's too busy making shoes. So, my mom's husband, he was a car mechanic, and I think that's probably how I fell in love with it. He was such a punk, though, man. That dude would, if I asked one question, like he'd be working on a car, like replacing the the wheel bearings or something like that, right? If I would ask a question, get inside the house right now. I don't hear nothing from you. So I'd be over at the window. "Hey, what are you doing now?" "Shut up, get out there." He was one of those guys, he wants you to be silent the whole time. He doesn't want you saying anything.
Was that just with cars? Like maybe because he was trying to focus on what he was doing, he didn't want no distractions.
Yeah, and I ask a lot of questions. I was always trying to learn something. So I was definitely asking too many questions for him.
Okay.
But I mean, what's the fastest way to learn something? You know,
Right.
Ask a question, make a mistake.
Right.
But I'm glad that I got into hair because if I was doing cars, I would have nothing but broke down cars, probably at my house. You know, I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it because we're
Yeah.
too busy working on cars.
Yeah.
That's what you always see mechanics' houses.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of cars out front.
We were that. We had that.
So you go to school. You went to school out here, out in Washington, or you were in California
Yeah.
still?
I came up here, moved in with my uncle, and dropped out of paint and design school, and started going to hair school.
Got out, and then where did you? What did it look like after school for you? Did you already have it lined up? Because you said you opened your spot in '94. What year were you in school at? Like barber school? Was it, what time period was all that?
92 probably.
Okay.
92, early 93. So I'm left-handed, and so I'm in hair school, and they give me a pair of scissors, and they said, "Yeah, they're right-handed scissors, but just turn them upside down. You'll be good." So the pressure point,
You'll be all right.
when you cut hair, you pull back with your fingers and push.
Yeah, it makes the blade.
So if
cut
you
rough.
makes the blade tighter, right?
Right.
But if you're using right-handed shears
It's opposite.
and you do that, you're widening the gap
Mm.
in between the shears.
So you got to cut opposite. You got to pull opposite.
You got to pull opposite, and every time I would cut hair, the hair would flip up and come back out. So the hair wasn't
It
cutting.
was folding it.
So I figured out this weird technique
Right.
by doing the opposite, but I could only go shear over comb close to the head, and they would get mad at me in school and say that's an advanced technique, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, I can't cut hair. It was literally 6 months in hair school that they finally figured out, oh, he needs left-handed shears.
Oh my God.
So now I'm behind everybody. I'm damn near the laughingstock of school because I can't cut. Like, it was a joke. They gave me the old blind men to cut. Hey, you cut the old blind men. They won't know.
Damn.
Good. Yeah, it was, and those guys actually knew more than the guys could actually see because
So
Yeah, they feel everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So with having that experience, with cutting with opposite shears, being left-handed, when you actually got shears, did you blow past everybody? Because you did develop a skill set, an extra skill set with,
I believe I did, but my mentality was that I can't cut hair. So I graduated from hair school and I asked the owner, I was like, yo, man, I can't. I'm trash. I can't go out there. And she's like, don't worry, you're going to find a mentor. And she goes, but if you really want to stay here, she said it's good. So I think I stayed an extra 2 months at hair school, trying to develop it a little better. And then I just went out there and I was just scanning everybody who's going to give me education, who's going to give me, who's going to get you that advanced education, the extra training. That's what I was really looking for. I think I worked, Jesus.
So what's the difference
10.
between cutting in barbershops in the 90s versus now? What you think?
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Well,
Everything, huh?
I guess, yeah, everything. I mean, the technology has advanced 10 times more. I love the fact that you can go on to YouTube and learn anything you want.
Yeah.
I think that's the greatest thing
Yeah.
for today's youth. I don't think they're using it,
Yeah.
but
No, they're not.
I think that us older people are using it a little bit more than
Yeah.
the
We
younger
appreciate-
generation.
Even though we know how to cut, we still appreciate openings to new things in our field.
Yeah, you would literally, back in the days, you would have to go shop to shop and just ask around and who's got,
What's
education,
the new thing?
who's
What's
got-
the new hip thing
yeah.
versus being able to go on YouTube and see everything.
I was blessed because one of the homies growing up, he was Stalin Jr.'s cousin. You guys ever hear of Stalin's Barbershop?
No, I haven't heard that.
I feel like I heard the name.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were huge in Rainier Beach area.
That's probably why.
They were real big. Stalin Sr. was running the shop, and then Junior, he was just like,
Filthy.
he
Good at
was
cutting.
filthy.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, and so I was blessed to know those folks, and I went over there, and his dad would drop knowledge on business to me, and then Junior would give me tips on cutting hair. So that really helped out a lot.
Did you work there? Were you working at the location? What did you do after school? As far as
Man, I worked like 10 shops because I was trying to get education. Everybody's like, they want to hire you. They want you to work there, and they're going to tell you whatever you want to hear.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was be there a couple months and realize
You ain't learning nothing.
I'm not learning. I really wanted education. That was the biggest thing. Is just because I was trash during school, even though by the time graduation came, everybody was like, "Oh man, you're ridiculous."
yeah.
But I was like, I never saw it at all.
You gotta think too, like what kind of cuts were you guys doing back then in the '90s? Like the styles are changing. It's probably a lot of shit work back then. You'd think. I feel like I look back at old cuts, like there was no blending sometimes. Back in the '90s, that kind of blunt style, like that Ken Griffey or that A-Rod. You know what I'm saying? You see these cuts back in the day, and it's just that blunt line all the way around.
Yeah, it was mullets.
Yeah,
I'm
those
not
are different.
I don't know where that was. We were rocking the fades though.
Okay,
Definitely skin number 2 on top.
those are the go-tos. The skin
Yeah.
phase.
Yeah. But back then we were really focused on the transition, the blend. Luckily, so I noticed every single time I would do a fade, right, it would drop. Every single time the fade would drop backwards, right?
Mhm.
It'd be high in the front and drop backwards. And I'm like, how does that happen when I do everything the same? The density per square inch in your sides in front of your ear is sparse compared to the density in the back. So the density per square inch in the back of your head is a lot denser. So even though when you would cut that fade evenly all the way around, it would drop back, be visually because it's denser back there.
Mm-hmm. The hair's a little darker, a little thicker.
And so that took me, good Lord, probably 4 years to put that together because I was never, ever satisfied with our work. Back then, we didn't have the phones or the cameras or anything like that, so we would take a picture. I was so obsessed with hair that I got 12 people. I would cut their hair for free every 3 days. And they all wouldn't come in the same day, but every 3 days I'd cut these people, right? And I would take pictures. But back then, you would have to wait 3 days to get the pictures.
The
Development. You gotta get them developed.
yo, that's so yo.
So you would be thinking, you would be thinking about that haircut,
Like, I wanna
and
see what
about
happened.
those pictures, and then you would see the mistakes you made. You learned how to correct those mistakes, and you learned how to avoid those mistakes for next time. So you kept advancing, but it was like you would literally pushing yourself.
Yeah.
Little bit at a time too. That's so. We don't realize the luxuries we
The
have.
phone,
with
yeah,
this.
yeah.
We just don't realize sometimes.
Oh,
Sometimes
man.
we take it for granted.
If you take a new kid now and just tell them to record every cut or tell them to take a picture every cut, how fast they're gonna grow, you can go back and look at mistake, boom, here, right?
I think because of technology, they'll never look back. They said that if somebody goes to a concert, they said 95% of the people who go to a concert and record it,
Yeah,
they will never look at it.
Ever.
Yeah.
ever. That's a fact.
And you didn't even really enjoy it because you on your phone
Yeah.
trying to get the good picture on the whole time, like you wasn't even there. You know, that's crazy.
That's why I just try to watch it.
Yeah.
So
Enjoy.
how much do you charge for your services, and why do you charge what you charge?
How much do I charge?
Well, first, just you don't really have just a barbershop. What is your place technically? You're a grooming like a lounge, or what would you call that?
A gentleman,
A gentleman's
I call it a men's hair tailor.
men's hair.
men's hair tailor.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fire.
So a barber, if you call yourself a barber, barbers don't charge more than $50. If you call
Generally,
yourself a
There's some-
stylist,
There's some that charge like 100 and stuff. What?
some very few,
Would.
very
Yeah,
few.
yeah. Go.
Good. Okay. All right.
A stylist charges around $100, and I don't want to be in either one of those categories. So if you brand yourself to a name that something's never heard of, they're going to think twice about, You basically can charge. Your professionalism, your mannerism has everything to do with it. Your customer service is the utmost importance. But I don't want to be in those categories, so I wanted to be independent. So I created this name for myself
To put you outside the box.
to do that.
When did you? I remember I used to actually, when I was a kid, I actually used to go to your shop, and I used to get cut by a guy named Champagne.
Champagne,
So I know that like you had
Bless
a
it.
barbershop feel. So like, what was the mindset transitioning from that into where you're at now? You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't satisfied. I wanted more. I wanted to stand out. I trained everybody so good, so hard, so tough that they had the skill to go open up their own shop, and they would, and they did, and I basically created all this competition
Right.
instead of saying, hey, you know what, you're getting really good. Let's start thinking about investing in your next shop, and then partner up with them. That's what I should have did, but hindsight's obviously 2020.
Yeah.
I would say it's time for you to go out on your own. Time for you to get out. So I was literally out.
You got to leave the nest now, man.
I'd push
It's time for you to get out of
It
here.
was motivating, but you didn't grasp the concept of keeping them under the same umbrella.
I dealt with a lot of hard rock cats, and these guys would challenge me like no other. Once they figured they got the skill now, they were trying to come at me, and I was like, no, hold up,
Yeah.
son, I didn't. It's not the way this works.
Yeah.
And then they would always open up right down the street.
Yeah, that's
around the
that's
corner.
crazy.
So you feeling like it's a personal attack just by that?
Yeah.
And the biggest thing was someone, one of my regulars would call me up and say, hey, man, I'm trying to get in today. And at that time, I would start booking out a couple days in advance. And I was like, I apologize. I don't have anything for day after tomorrow. And they said, I got to get cut right now. Don't worry. I'm gonna run up the street to Johnny's. I'm gonna dip over there to Supremes. I'm gonna go to Roosevelt. I'm gonna go to Dre's. I'm gonna, you was all these Magic's was down the street. I don't know if you guys remember Magic's. That was right down the street too. And I literally created all this competition for myself. And I said, I'm not doing this. Not doing this.
So you had all them guys working, Dre's was working with under you and all of them?
No, Dre wasn't. John.
Oh, John.
John.
Yeah, that's right.
John Virus. He was
Yeah.
over there.
And then he left and broke off and did Supreme, right?
Yeah, him and Zeke, Isaiah, they did Supremes.
Yep.
Yeah. Supremes, wow. They're doing it over there. They got a real big shop. Surprised they don't got a couple other locations right now. They're definitely sought after.
Yeah, I mean, when I got here, there was a lot of talks of what was going on. You already know, Murs being my brother, my older brother. I got here at 18. I was like, I heard D&J's, Supremes, your shop, Valentine's, and Earl's. That was pretty much the ones I heard. And then once I kind of got in it, then there was like another one that was down here that I heard about. Major League. And so, but I'd never ever seen or met you or nothing, but I always heard that dude Valentine, bro. He running like North Seattle, Greenwood area, all that. I was like,
Yeah.
I was so obsessed with marketing. I started reading. I went to, after I opened up my shop, I went to business school, and I started taking business classes, but then I became obsessed with marketing, and I realized that that's the most important thing you could do. And so we put a DJ booth inside our shop, and we had the graph all over the wall, graffiti all over the wall, and we took some pictures, and we duplicated the pictures like 65 times, and I hand wrote letters to all the record labels in the United States, tell them who we are, here's some pictures, and they immediately started sending us the vinyl before the clubs got them, before the DJs, before everybody got them. We got them.
That's dope.
this is before Serato's to all the
Yeah.
DJs out there. Before Serato, before all that, this is Wax Wednesday stuff, for
So,
real.
what you were a DJ? Were you a DJ?
My brother was a DJ, and
So, well, you said you associated that with marketing, though. Like, how did that work? Like, what do you mean?
so I wanted to come out with mixtapes. So when I first opened up my shop back in '94, I would get all the mixtapes from New York,
Right.
and we would sell those at the shop. So kids came from literally all city
Oh, okay. I see what
coming
you're
over there to get the tapes.
saying. Yeah, so you was like doing a double cliche, using the music as the bait, selling CDs, get people in the shop, talking.
Nah, man,
That-
no.
That wasn't
no,
the
no,
angle?
no. Dude, we would roll up to a club, a school, anywhere, and we would just give out mixed CDs.
Oh, okay.
Because it was costing about $1.50 at a time for the jewel case, for the artwork, for the CD, the burnt CD, the graphics on the CD. I was trying to come out with it as professional as I could. And you would just give it to somebody, and they'd be like, yo,
This is
what?
fire.
Because everybody had the CD in the car and the Walkman, and, everybody had it. So you would throw that CD in there, and you'd be like, yo, I ain't heard none of this music. And so it was always hosted by a DJ. So we had,
So that was like a side hobby. That wasn't like.
no, man, no. That was I think that made us where we are, where we were then. That put us on top of everything, because you would know, I'm going to get cut at Valentine's. I'm going to get hit with a CD. I'm going to get a poster. I'm going to get a sticker. They might throw me some gear, some clothes. They're going to get something. Because I used to go to this little ramen house, and they had this on the menu. It was a 4-piece gyoza, right? And it was like, I don't know, $3 or something, $2. I don't know what it was. So they would bring you the gyoza, right? The 4-piece gyoza. There were 6 pieces on there.
Oh, a little extra. Yeah, I got
And they would hand it to you and say, your 4-piece gyoza. And you're looking at it, looking at them, looking at it.
Like,
looking
you know,
at
it's only 4, right?
this is
and you're like, oh,
Here's your
shit.
$10. You know what I mean?
So saying over delivering.
Right.
What is the biggest problem right now in today's society? We over say and under deliver.
Facts.
That's the biggest thing. I can't stand it when I drive down the street and they look into a barber shop or hair salon and every stylist is on their damn phone with a person in the chair. Really?
Yeah, I don't like being on the phone.
Yeah, me
Well,
neither.
that-
I won't respond
That's a
9 times out of 10.
Yeah, it's a peeve of mine.
I won't allow people on the floor to have phones in their hand or on their station. You can't have your phone on there. We got a shop camera, and you could take a picture if that's what you want. I'm not doing that. When somebody's paying for that time, when someone's paying for that service, that's what you have to do.
Undivided attention.
Yeah.
But we're so conditioned. Oh man, if I'm cutting hair and someone whips out their phone and they're doing it, I just stop. Just let me know when you're ready. I'm not.
Yeah, I be off that too sometimes, man. Like, don't come on the phone and
They start asking you questions and then they get on their phone and then you start saying the answer to the question.
They're not
They're
even
not
listening.
even paying attention. I'm like, oh my God, dog, what is happening here?
You don't even want your
What?
clients on the phone?
No, I won't. I won't allow it.
Mm.
I don't say anything. I just stand back.
Yeah. Let a little pause.
And all of a sudden
with it.
they're like,
What's going on?
what are you doing? I was like, just, let me know when you're ready.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
Hey, in trouble. You got them in trouble.
I'm ready.
Can we go through your services? Like Wood asked earlier, I cut them off, I think, but some of the services you offer and the prices at your shop. Because it's a little different than your typical barbershop, I think.
It's a little different.
yeah.
A little different. Prices start at $95 and go up from there. My price is a little different.
So what do you get for $95? That's a basic standard price for you. So what services do you offer under that umbrella of $95?
Consultation. I want to make sure that I thoroughly understand what you're here for and you understand what I'm going to do. I think that's the most thing that lacks. Especially in today's society, people are so passive. They're not going to look you in the eye and tell you, this isn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't do that. That's a fact.
But what's so messed up is we're the bad guys for not knowing that they don't like what they got, even though they didn't say anything.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
So wait, so what else? So consultation, you do color?
Mm-hmm.
And you do like,
That's extra, though, but that's not part of the haircut.
no, I know. I'm just, like you said, we're trying to get a rundown of what
Of
you,
your services
what
and what
you
you
doing.
offer. Yeah.
I know it's because it's more like a gentleman's lounge. I've heard, these are things I've heard. It comes with a shot of Hennessy.
Oh, oh man, it's actually illegal.
Not in purchase, just complimentary.
Yeah,
Nah,
compliment.
Yeah, my place, nah.
No?
No.
Oh, okay. I heard
Against
this
the
before.
law. It's against the law. I would new break the law. So we don't do that. We don't do
Yeah,
that.
you don't look in the camera and say that.
We don't
I
do
mean-
that. We don't do that. That's against the law. I'm a
Not at
law-abiding
Valentine.
citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
never, ever break the law and serve somebody
Yeah, we cleared that up.
liquor.
Yes.
But what's crazy, I just happen to have some iced tea you would have, and you'll be like, "Dog, is
Best
that
I see you
liquor
ever
in
had.
here?" Yeah. But it's a very special occasion. That's not,
Yeah.
we don't.
That's kind of fire. So, but
I found out I can get a liquor license. They want $5,000 a year, and I could give it away for free. And I was like, $5,000. Give the state $5,000
and then give more.
and give it away for free. So I can't make money off it. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, this is kind of weird.
Well, because if you was able to do that up under a license, then it would be more enticing, more of an appeal to the client. and it could boost your sales a little bit. So that's what they're looking at. Not
Okay,
direct
okay,
sales,
okay.
you know what I mean? Indirect.
I feel you. I feel you. But I'm going to disagree because in today's society, you can go anywhere and get a beer in a barbershop. So I almost feel it's a gimmick. I almost feel that you're saying, hey, come in here. I'm going to give you a beer. I'm going to fuck you up real quick and be on your way. But you're going to come back to me because I'm going to give you a beer. Like, I honestly think that now it's just even if we ever got into that, I don't even think I would ever say it or market it or tell somebody because you're coming here for an experience. My whole mentality is you're coming in here to escape from today's stresses, to unwind, relax, vibe out. That is my mission to give to you. That's what I'm here for. I'm not doing 30-minute cuts. Not doing that. You know, I have some staff members that can cut extraordinarily quickly. But you know, I don't do that. We have a room called the presidential room, and it's a little private suite. And man, I'm just thinking about like when we built this place. I sold everything I had, all my cars. We have you guys checked out the shop?
Your shop?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Man, you guys might wanna. I'm gonna give you guys. I'm gonna bring some pictures down here because I'm gonna come back and do a couple demos, and I'll bring a whole bunch of pictures and kind of show you how we evolved. Because that's probably like one of the most craziest things ever. We literally went from this barbershop with the graffiti, just everybody in there being super loud, and to now as you walk in there and you're like, whoa, feel like you stepped into Cuba or somewhere.
Okay.
It's just like, you know, you got your vaulted ceilings, crown molding, your pendants, our mirrors are 10 feet tall.
That
I mean,
sounds pretty dope.
That
You got pictures online?
very few. I try to say less,
Right.
and I try to show less, and so when you walk in there, you're like, yo,
This is lit.
what
Dope,
is
man.
going on in here? That was my biggest thing. So when I was building this place, I wanted a place that the newspapers, the city, the magazines, the media would be like, yo, this dude's, when I first did it, they came out with a couple articles on me and they slapped me in the face. They're bastards. Fuck them. Anyway, they said, oh yeah, he opened up in Greenwood, not necessarily the heart of the city.
Oh, that's how they slighted you?
Yeah, they
They
always
slighted you.
will say
That's
that it's
greasy.
backhanded shit.
Yeah, that's slighting. That's greasy.
But then
what
when
was
they
that, like
seen
was it a specific magazine or?
Yeah, it was one of the Seattle magazines that they do. And but then they came out there and they were like, oh, damn.
It's fire. Yeah, it's dope.
And I was like, our place is 2,700 square feet. I mean,
Huge.
you can't rent that in the city.
What? 2,700 square feet?
Yeah, it's a
So-
big size.
What? You got a resort.
We got a room set up for massage. We
Yeah, you gotta have a
couple
spa.
private suites.
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
a shampoo room.
Okay.
You know,
That's huge, man. Definitely got to check that out.
And them
cut-
chairs, man. You be rebuilding chairs too, right?
yeah, I really became. We would break chairs. So you know they got those swanky Chinese chairs that look
The bad
dope as
base.
hell, man. They look.
Okay.
They're so nice. They look nice, but
Right.
they have the bad base, and they would
Yeah,
break. We would break them all the time. Literally every 4 years, these chairs would break, and you know, after 20 years, we're going on our 5th set, and then I was like, all right. I sat my staff down. And I said, okay, so you guys want to go get some old school chairs? these shares are gonna last. And they instantly, everybody said, "Go old school, go old school."
Yeah.
So when we first had them, we had some old schools when I first started, like in '94. But we used to throw these parties every weekend at the shop, and I mean, dude, there would be 150 people in the shop. I don't know why the people would tilt the chair backwards, and there'd be like 3 people dancing on it.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
next thing you know, in the morning, the chair's broke, and I'm like,
Yeah, that's too much. They doing too much.
Doing way too much.
man, the cops would show up. The cops would show up, and they're like, "What do you think? This is a club? You're gonna do this every weekend?" Because they were there. The cops were there like every Friday, Saturday.
You're sick of your crap.
They were heated. They were heated. And I was like, we could change this right now. And so I went inside and I locked the door and I put the blinds down and we kept kicking it. Man, the cops were heated. Oh. Speaking about cops,
No. I don't want to speak about police. Man.
yo, these motherfuckers, dog. So obviously I'm on that fair skin, that lighter complexion, right? We were really known for cutting black hair at that time. These cops would roll up in there, and one cop would walk in, and the other cop would block the doorway. These were those bicycle cops. These fucking bitches. Yo, dude would block the door. He'd sit on his bike like this. He'd block the door, right? And the other cop would walk around, and he'd be like, "Yeah, who's running this place?" And I'm like, "How can I help you, sir?" He's like, "Where's the dope at?" And I'm like, "What'd you say, man?" I was like, "What you say?" "The dope." He's like, "Ain't black people coming in here unless you slanging them dope." He goes, "You think I'm stupid?" And I was like, "Yo," and I flipped the fuck out, like ballistic. He said, "With this badge, Seattle Police, you're a Seattle business. I can walk around here and go through." He started going through my rooms, and I'm like, "Yo, motherfucker, what are you doing, dude?" He started going through my rooms, and he said, "I want to see everybody's ID." He started doing this once every 2 weeks. He would come in my shop.
That's a lawsuit.
Dog, I took
That's
Seattle.
that's illegal search and seizure.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's the '90s, but
Yeah.
nobody had phones
Do
back
whatever the hell you
then.
want.
Nah,
It
it's
was.
illegal
I
search
took
and seizure.
Seattle Police Department to
You can spank
internal.
them. You could have spanked them for that.
I took them to internal investigations 3 times. I lost all 3.
That's internal investigation, but you had a lawsuit based on
The lawyers wouldn't touch it.
because you got to go
Lawyers
outside.
wouldn't
You got to
touch
go
it.
outside the box. They don't like to fight in their about their state within their own state. You got to go get somebody from a different state to come in to enforce federal law.
And that's crazy, though.
They accused me of bank robbery. It was, dude, I had so many problems with the police. But at that, hindsight's 2020. At that time, it was good because newspaper articles started coming out about, like, what kind of business am I running? And so what that did is it made every kid in the city go, "Yo,
That's the place to go to.
them some gangsters out there. We're going out there. We're going to get cut up out there."
That was almost a marketing for me.
Yeah.
It was good
Good
publicity.
marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, because they
Good
said
looking.
I was furious with it. I was so furious, but they said that any publicity is good publicity, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. No publicity is good publicity.
And even back then,
Such
because
thing.
social media now,
Yeah.
you can get anything. But back then, like having something written about you on paper that everybody could see,
Yeah.
that's different.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah.
Oh man, they said we were drug dealing, we were racketeering, we were running numbers, man, we were doing porn. They said we were doing everything, man, and it was crazy.
It's because them parties, man, they didn't know what to
Parties,
expect out of there.
Yeah,
No,
some
we would
parties.
definitely have some parties. That was crazy. We had 2 refrigerators back then. One was just only 40s.
So how did I want to ask you? So how did the cars and the lowrider thing come into play with your business as a gentleman's salon?
Man, that started at the old shop. I met this old school cat named Don Juan, And he came to me and he kept saying, yo, you got to meet this dude I know. You got to meet this dude, Marcy. You got to meet this dude, Marcy. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So I was in the older cars, but not like these dudes were. And one day he takes me over to this dude's house. And this guy's got like immaculate cars. And I'm like, man, I was 22 when I opened up my shop. So I was probably 24 when I went out there. And so these guys were building beautiful cars, immaculate cars. And they had a car club, and they were like, man, we want you to come hang out with us. We like what you're doing. And basically every Sunday they would cruise up to the shop. And we were in Ballard. So, them white kids ain't never seen no Lolos before. And there would be 12, 13 cars out front. So it was literally like a car show every Sunday. And kids came from all over the place. And that's another thing that kind of just put us in a lane of our own.
Over the top. That puts you over the top.
Yeah. And I was always good with cars, but I was always doing some Mickey Mouse backyard mechanics. And these guys were like, no. This is how we do it.
So you guys have car shows annually, or did you start doing car shows?
Oh, the Greenwood Car Show. Yeah. No, that's not my show. I don't do that, but I'm heavily involved in it. I mean, like, really involved with it. Like, my whole block, we barbecue out there, and we got all the Lolos that show up. It's pretty awesome, man. It's spectacular. It's about the last weekend in June every year, so it's just like perfect weather. Last Saturday of June. Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
And that's every year.
Every year.
That's dope.
Every year. They didn't do it for about
Since COVID or something like that?
yeah, we finally did one last year, and I think it was 3 years since we did one before, man. That was crazy, man. COVID.
Yeah, it really messed things up right now.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What was beautiful about COVID, like, I was cutting hair out of my garage, and man, I remember this old man walking by, and he was looking at us, and I'm like, oh, yo, I should have shut the garage door. Garage door was open. I was cutting, some of the homies out there, and my car is right there, and the old man's looking at us, and he's like, I see what you're doing, and I'm like, oh, no. And he leaves, and then he comes back. And he goes, can I talk to you? And so I'm like, hey, I'm just, we're not doing this. And he's like,
can I get a cut?
Can I get next? And I was like, oh, man, you're not. He's like, man, I'm not scared of that shit.
Yeah.
He's like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. I'm not worried about that. And I was like, yeah, man, we got you. That was kind of cool. Well, what's so cool about COVID, so they shut us down, and I was shut down for 3 months. And you got your savings. Your savings is set up for emergency or for medical or for some type of emergency, right?
Down, boy.
Yeah.
First month, nobody was tripping. Month 2, everybody's like, yo, they ain't never going to let us back on.
We got
what the hell?
something.
Didn't they give us a check for $800 or something like that?
Yeah, it was
One-time check.
Yeah, it was like.
I didn't even go get it because I was
12.
like, what are you supposed to do with $800?
Yeah.
You can't pay.
Nothing.
What are you going to pay? A phone bill, electric bill?
Grocery bill.
The cable
that's
bill?
it. That's the
Costco twice.
And I'm like,
Two
this is
Costco.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was like, but, so, I was struggling during that time. I was really struggling, man. I think I was getting up drinking around noon or something. And one of my guys came over there, and he's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, man?
I gotta wake up with a shot.
Oh, during COVID,
Feel
yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Feel it.
Oh, yeah. I think that was the whole mission. Who's got margaritas to go?
Yeah.
That was like
Drinking
that-
every day, grilling every day.
Yep.
That's what it was.
Yeah, for
It was
Trying
pretty
to forget
nice.
about the whole
People were
thing.
doing walks and taking care of their yards and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's house looked good again. All that shit quit.
Everybody's house was looking good.
on the outside.
I had a 68 SS Impala sitting in my garage for 9 years.
68.
Yeah.
Hello.
I think I got pictures over here on that.
They don't make them like that no more. Hard body.
So I had dropped the motor in, but I didn't assemble it. So we rebuilt the motor,
Right.
but I needed to put on the intake, the
You just
fuel
put the
pump.
block in. You just dropped
Yeah,
the
I
block
just dropped
in.
the block in. I didn't connect the drive line. So we had 3 months, right? So I built that car. I got that car running in 3 months. So, and
That's
that
good.
car would still be in my garage right now if it wasn't for COVID.
Okay.
Swear to God.
Did you get rid of it? You sold it? You said
No,
you
no.
Yeah,
I was
you-
actually getting ready to sell it. My daughter just came to me and she's like, "Yo, Poppy, why you can't sell that car?" And I was like, "Why?" She goes, "You built that car from you. You're invested in that. You have all that time." And I was like, "Baby, I'll build another one." She goes, "No, this one's different." I was like, "Child, what you talking about?" And she's like, "You can't get rid of this one." And I was like, "For real?" I was like, "Do you want it?" And she's like, "Yes."
That's fire.
She said, "That's baby Scar." And she always talks about herself in the third person. It's pretty wild. She said, "It's baby Scar." And I was like, "All right, you really want that car?" I was like, "This is a big ass car for you."
It's a boat. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
But it
20,
slide though.
20 feet, 8 inches.
Yeah, they slide. Just somewhere.
Yeah.
What you put in it?
327. We boarded over like 60 over. So it's probably like, man, I don't know, 400 now.
But start off as a small block, but that's a small.
No, it's still a small block. We just bored out the pistons,
Right,
you know,
Right, made it more
put some
beefier.
nice roller rockers in there and just big ass carburetor.
Sound like it's about to
It
shut
ain't
off.
it ain't one of these cars that
Yeah.
Oh, the Tesla?
Electric joints.
those things are fast, but those things are a joke, man.
Man, I can get some sounds downloaded into it, make it sound real nice.
Put the speakers in the tires.
Yeah, wait till I get my upgrade. You know what I mean? My updated package.
I did hear that they do sound effects now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
sound effects.
laughing at that. I think
did
that's
hear that.
hilarious. It's not even the same, bro. Like, get out of here with that. It makes it more of a toy car when you do that. It's like a toy.
I'm just like, okay, if you need to get out of town real quick, like where are you gonna stop? And
It has it like mapped out. It's kind of crazy.
yeah, but if you're in a hurry, you got to stop.
Yeah, you got
It
45 minutes to charge up.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
I ain't
yeah.
got
You
time
caught.
for that.
Yeah, that's
I ain't got time for that.
Got your ass.
That's fact.
Hey, you
About to
trying
run out.
to
He's
escape?
gonna
You
stop
gotta wait 45 minutes.
Well, they gonna know where you. They gonna know where you charging up at.
Well, it's electric. They gonna know either way.
He's gonna be there in 2 hours. We'll be there.
Oh,
It'll be that
those
way.
electric cars, all new cars though. There's a GPS on all cars,
Mm-hmm.
and they got the black box. So whatever you do, everything's recorded. I'm just like, dude.
You seen the one car? I think it was Ford that said if you don't pay your bill after 3 notes, it'll drive itself back to the dealership.
I just heard about that.
Yo, that's too
Yeah,
much.
that's cool, buddy.
Hey, Monday you go to work. Oh, ain't no car out there. It's over.
It drove itself.
Yeah, it took itself back.
Back to the
Yo, what if you
dealership.
got a warrant? What if the car just take you to the police station? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know.
I'm good, bro.
Yeah, they do.
That's
it
why
a
you need
lot.
one of them 68s like you got in the garage.
Yeah,
You need to keep one of those around.
yeah.
For real.
Man,
Let's talk a little bit about Barber, man. A little bit more, man. And just the hair industry, man. This mid fades, like fade lines. Like there's secrets to the industry that we don't talk about to our customers. Like they come in with this picture, like I want this. They don't know what it means to achieve that. They just here,
want that.
fix it, like make it happen. They don't know that their hair is not necessarily that hair type, or it's not gonna look the same way. Like, how do you unpack that for me? Like from your perspective, being in the game 30 years, knowing what you know. Like,
Yeah, what are
go
your
ahead.
cheat codes, basically?
Yeah, like go ahead, give us some insight on that.
a hair dryer, I think, is probably one of the most important tools that's overlooked. Especially if you're cutting that white boy hair, you really need a hair dryer. And you got to texture that hair, meaning take the volume out, take the weight out. Some folks like to use the
Thinning shears.
Thinning shears.
Yeah, it don't do the same, right?
I don't like that because so when you cut hair, you're gonna cut hair and it's gonna drop like this, right? But when you use thinning shears, it goes like this. So everything from here down is super dense, everything from here up. So
Like-
thinning shears are a good way to start, but we use razors, we'll use a straight razor on the hair. And so what it's doing is it's cutting like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. And so you're breaking it down and you're taking this volume out. Once you have smaller pieces are going to help hold up the longer pieces when it goes to styling. So you could make someone's hair stand up 6-8 inches with heat, with no product.
Yeah, with no product. I've seen that before.
The moisture, so the hair has to be damp. And when you take heat to the hair shaft explodes. When it explodes, you have about 50 to 100 pieces of hair on one hair shaft, micro pieces of hair that come off that hair shaft. And they bond to the other pieces of hair. And that thing will stand straight up. But it only comes from damp hair exposed to heat. And it's like, we're going to do some classes. We're going to do some classes about this. I'm going to show you guys what this is all about. So, like, everybody's talking about getting that bag, right? And you got a lot of white boys right now crossing over into black hair.
Right.
Just about wherever you go, you see all these dudes doing it, right? Where's the brothers doing white folk hair?
I mean, like I said, I've never had no problem cutting white people hair or straight hair for that matter. I actually went to the schools. That's all I was doing.
Okay, you might
School
be
I went to.
a unicorn.
Nah, this.
Yeah, we all do.
We can speak on that, right?
Yeah, we cut the.
I'm not
diverse
talking
group.
about skin on the sides or two on top. I'm not
No,
talking
no,
No.
We talking about actually styling and long hair.
Yeah,
Shear
comb
work.
over.
Shear
yeah,
work.
with
Shear work.
gentlemen's cuts. Yeah.
Okay.
In there doing that. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't
Now,
need to
with-
show you guys nothing. Then.
Well,
I don't
No,
need
but
to-
with that blow
clean
dry and
any
stuff,
class.
like that's a whole nother lane.
We can always learn
Okay,
something new.
okay.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother lane.
Okay.
But like, applying gel and,
Styling.
contouring. I like basically the couture for the head shape because that's what I look at. Can I give you a comb over that's gonna sit right when I actually comb it over, or not? What you're talking about is a whole nother. I don't do the blow dry and adding volume, and I don't do that.
Man, it's so.
That's a
quick.
whole nother different
I could
situation.
style anybody's hair in under 60 seconds.
Now that's
Anybody's
fire.
hair. Anybody. 60 seconds. And that's one thing that we think it's, you got to sit here and do all this work with the hair. No, man, no. Because what you're styling, you're only styling this up here. As long as everything is cut in the direction, the natural direction it grows,
Right.
it's going to lay perfectly.
Right.
The styling part comes from the front. It's all about the front, whether you're trying to rock some curls, whether you're trying to go straight, whether you're trying to go height, volume, you're trying to go backwards to the side with curls. I mean, you got a lot of options out there, and it's so quick. What's cool is you can take damp hair, that means toweled really well, right? So it's just wet to the touch, not dripping. You throw a dot of gel in there. Just a dot of gel, the tiniest amount, emulsify that, work it all throughout the hair, then take the hair dryer to that.
Yeah.
It'll be soft to the touch. You know how you put gel in hair and it gets crunchy?
Crunchy,
right?
yeah. I don't like. Yeah.
When you bring that hair dryer to it, it has alcohol in it. And that
It
heat
dissipates. Yeah. Throughout.
dissipates, and the hair will stand straight up,
Creates
and it won't
volume.
move all day,
Yeah.
and
creates
it's
volume.
still soft to the touch. Like, there's so many things, like, these.
Techniques. Do you use mousse a lot?
Do they still sell mousse? I didn't even know they still sold that stuff.
Not the kind with aerosol, but the kind that looks liquid. When you spray it out, it turns into mousse.
Like a foam.
The
like-
foam and shit you talking about?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know. That was big in the
I ain't
80s
seen-
and 90s, but I didn't know they.
The
that was-
Vidal Sassoon days.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys know anything about that dude, Vidal Sassoon?
No, I just remember seeing the commercials all the time.
Yo, this dude was so cold. He's the one who he's the one. You know how you got to buy shampoo and conditioner, right?
Yeah.
Vidal Sassoon is the one who said. So back in the days, all shampoo had conditioner in it. All shampoos had it. He said, "I'm taking this out. I'm taking this out, and you're gonna buy 2 products from me.
That's filthy.
And then he did that. The whole industry
Industry
was
changed,
like,
yeah.
they bit off him.
Yeah.
He's
Even
the
Paul
one who came
Mitchell,
up
all
with
of them
that.
too. So like all of those, Joyco and everything, they all copied him.
Everybody. That's the dude who did it. But that dude was. Have you seen that documentary? That man,
Yeah, I never seen. No.
dog, it's mind blowing what he did. I probably wouldn't say any name brands, but I'm gonna say right now, probably my favorite thing is that super dry. That super dry. I don't even know what it's called. They call it dry shampoo.
Okay.
It's not a shampoo. It's basically, it makes your hair dirty, right? It makes it almost like, if you go to the beach, right, and you're in the water, you get the salt in your hair.
Are you talking about the styling powder?
There's one that's a powder.
Yeah.
There's one that's it's tacky, but you emulsify it, and it just turns to this.
Like a clay or something like that?
It's not even like clay. It's like the lightest clay you've ever seen. But the more you work with it, the drier and drier it gets. So you put it in the hair, and you're like, this ain't gonna hold nothing. And all of a sudden, this thing's doing anything you want.
Yeah.
Anything you want. The big thing right now is like everybody wants this longer textured hair.
Big volume.
They want it hanging down.
Yeah,
They want it
like
to go all over
all
the
over
place.
the place,
Pieced.
yeah.
It's all pieced out, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be your
Texture,
perfect product.
yeah.
Just go in there with your razor and just texture the hell out of that hair. Go in there and point cut. That's going to be your biggest thing for that.
Those techniques are the ones that I'm like,
I'm trying to learn some of
yeah, I
that.
want to learn some of that too.
But we're going to do that. We're going to do that
Nice.
at the end of this. We're gonna do that. That's what we're going to do. And you're going to realize 60 seconds, under 60 seconds, I'm going to style the hair. Under 60 seconds.
That's interesting. That's dope. So you doing this stuff in the 90s and the 2000s, this is like just putting you further and further. This is before the conversion? You did this before the conversion? Because you had a barbershop. You said it was the graffiti. It was the DJ booth.
We were
it
doing
was
head
loud.
designs, a lot of head designs.
A lot of
then.
designs,
But
okay.
I was doing color back then, so I was the only one doing color. So you would rock the part in your eyebrow, right? So I would do a red. You would do 2 lines in the eyebrow. In the middle would be red, and then it would go to your red
Oh, that's cool.
design, rocking back. You guys are going to see the pictures. We're going to inlay them into this conversation. But
Yeah.
we were doing this all in the 90s. I went down to New Millennial Barbershop on Crenshaw down in L.A., and I went down there, and they had that dude Pooh that was cutting everybody on the N1 mixtapes. So he was cutting everybody. So I went down there, and I met up with him. And, this is before social media. So I just heard on the N1 mixtape that this dude Pooh in L.A. cuts hair. So I went down there and checked him out. Luckily he was there. And I was in there asking about him. They're like, who are you? What do you want? There ain't nobody here named Pooh. And I was like, oh, man, I'm a barber, man. I was like, you guys are tripping, man. They're like, yo, there was a Jamaican dude who ran the shop. He was fucking psycho. He said, I was going to beat your ass, man. He goes, but you're lucky the barbers like you in here. He goes, I'm going to let it slide. He goes, you could be in here 10 minutes, and I'm going to drag you out of here. And I'm like, yo, what the is that the owner? And they're like, yo, that dude, he's crazy. Motherfucker's crazy. 31 chairs he had.
Well, he had to be aggressive like that.
That motherfucker was stone crazy. What was dope, it was the floor was a hardwood floor, and it was all painted like a basketball court. And so they had the purple and yellow jerseys.
The Lakers.
This is in the 90s, in the Lakers, right?
Yeah, it's
it
fine.
said, instead of the Lakers, it said Faders. And it had your number on the back, the matching number on the top.
It's kind of dope.
Yeah, that's a dope
And
thing.
their seating was
Like the
stadium
bench,
seating.
like the like
It was like stacked. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. And they're like, so they say, what you down here for? I said, I'm down here to learn. And they're like, what you trying to learn? I'm like, I know Pooh does designs and stuff like that. I do designs. And they said, please, you don't do no designs. And I was like, yo, I got pictures. And they're like, show us the pictures. There were like 20 people that crowded around me looking at the pictures. And they're like, you do this? Show us. And I'm like, show you, for real? I was like, it's like that? They're like, yeah, show us. I said, okay, I'll show you, but I came down here to learn. I didn't. If you want me to show you, I will. And so everybody's all up like this, right? And I'm like, hey, man,
Some space.
I'm shaking a little bit, right? I'm like, can you guys back up, give me a little bit of space? And so I rocked a little part in there. And I did it and blended it out, faded it out in the center, and they were like,
You don't need to learn anything from us. Like
they said,
we trying to learn from you.
Never seen that shit before.
Yeah.
I was like, really? I was like, man. And so I got to meet Pooh. And that was dope. He was like the man. And he was like, yo, man, I ain't even got my license, man. He goes, that's why you can't ask for me down here. And
You probably came in there fitted. They was like, yo, you state? Or something like, you state? Like, what's going on?
Who was this?
no. Back then, it was just all about the jeans and the white tees and the Jordans. And I think it's so funny because barbers still wear the same shit. Barbers nowadays, it's like, if you're not wearing that, you ain't a barber.
Yeah.
I had someone come in my shop the other day, and he looked at me, and he's like, you ain't no barber. You don't even look like one. I was like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I was like, I'm not wearing Jordans. I was like, sorry.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that for 35 years, that's kind of been
Standard.
the standard. And I feel bad for a barber coming out of school. You got to buy all these clippers and Jordans. And I'm like, damn, dude, can we, like, change the fashion? Like, dude, I make decent money. I don't be spending that shit on clothes.
Yeah.
I have, dude, I will not spend over $70 on a pair of shoes. I will not spend over $30 on a pair of pants. I will not spend over 19 on a shirt. I will not spend over 20 on a vest. I won't spend $2 on a pocket square. I refuse. Thrift stores, consignment shops is my spot. People are like, man, you be shopping at Nordstrom's or whatever. And I'm like, man, hell no. Shop at none of those damn spots. But I that's what I don't understand, how a barber coming out of school can buy all this stuff. Like,
Hunger.
Are you living in
They
your mom's?
charging.
Like,
They charging 50 right out of school.
Some
40
people
out of school.
charging 50. Yeah.
They don't
100,
even know what the fuck they doing. They just
$100 with
Is
the
that what they're
enhancements.
charging?
With the enhancements.
out
Yeah.
of and the enhancements too really be
Yeah.
saving a lot of these cats
Yeah,
too. You know,
Then they-
right out of. I'm not gonna say a lot of that, but
There's some.
it definitely saves a lot. And then, you know, they kind of like got the studio, like they're not really. I think people are more inclined to the studios now. You know, those solo salons, and so they can kind of just do what they want because they're their own spot.
Solo salon.
Yeah.
Let me go in there and get a
Salon
private suite, and I'm just gonna fuck people up all day. But nobody's gonna be here to check me on my work.
That's pretty much
Yeah.
what's going on right now.
Nobody can
That's
see me.
exactly what's
And I'm
going
gonna
on.
tell you how good you look, and you're gonna be like, yeah, man, my barber says I look good.
And take a video. I'm gonna throw it online. Throw some edits on it. It's gonna look great. That's exactly what's going on right now.
It's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Dog,
It's a beautiful thing though, because if you have your niche,
Right.
you're good.
but if
You're
it
never
wasn't-
gonna have a problem.
I couldn't do any of this so if I didn't have a team, if I didn't have people to work with, because we would hold each other accountable. Like, I mean, you would look,
Like, you really
Yeah.
did that cut, bro? You really did that?
and then the minute that person left, you would be like, yo, you really just gonna beat him up like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like him or something? He owes you money? Like, you just did him dirty.
Yeah.
And there was this cat, Jose, man. I remember when he first started. Ooh. Jose is probably one of the baddest barbers in the city right now. But
Still to this day,
oh,
or at the time.
till this day, at that time, he was trash.
Oh, okay.
Love him to death. Love you, Jose. You the man. But man, I remember he would start out, and people would be like, "Hey, man, you don't like that guy? What? Why? Man, you beat that dude up bad, man. You let him have it." What are you talking about? And then all of a sudden, he really started looking at his work, and then he surpassed everybody. No, there was somebody else. I don't remember what that dude's name was. It wasn't Jose. It was
He left Supreme.
Yeah. And he built some crazy,
Yeah, he did some shit.
immaculate studio.
I thought that's what he was referring to, so that's why I was.
I don't remember what that guy's name was, man. I heard that he built like one of the nicest places you've ever seen in your life. I seen pictures, and I was like, no way. Like I was like, damn, man, maybe I need to
Step it up or so, yeah.
Like, damn. Our building was built in the 20s, so the building we work out of was built in the 20s, and I became obsessed with like the 20s. I don't know, the cars, the dress, the manners, just everything back then. And
The building gave you that kind of vibe?
no, my building was complete trash. We had these drop acoustic ceilings that came down like 8 feet, and we had that 2x4 lights, and it was just all fluorescent.
Oh, yeah.
It was really bad, and they put the ceiling in because there was some water damage. There were 3 holes in our ceiling. One of the holes was 12 feet wide.
Wow,
And then we had like a 7-foot one and then a 3-foot one. There was water. I think water leaked upstairs. A pipe broke, and nobody caught it for, I think the guy said, a week.
Yeah.
So all these holes. So they just said, instead of replace the ceiling, they just put up this acoustic ceiling. And so I went in there. When I got my money right, well, I thought I had my money right. We tore everything out. We were supposed to be shut down like 5 weeks. We were shut down 5 months.
Damn.
That was crazy. That's when I sold everything I owned, like all my cars, everything. I'm on the bus with wet towels and shit, going home and doing laundry. That was crazy.
The grind.
Got to be able to do things that other people ain't willing to do.
All right.
Yep.
That was crazy. But man, the shop came out. So it was built in the 20s. So our ceilings are 15 feet tall, and so we put the big crown molding up there, the denim molding. That's that beautiful stuff you see in those old ones, and the pendants. And I got these pendants from a bank from the 30s, and then I wanted it to look like the 20s. So the 20s, everything was long and skinny, so we just hung the pendants off the ceiling like 6 feet. So you walk in there, and it's like, it's massive. But again, I wanted the city to talk about me the way they talk about. I wanted the city to talk about my shop the way my mom talks about Jesus. So that's what I was going after. That was a whole mission.
So you got a lot of elements in there, man. I'm gonna touch back on that DJ stuff. Some big names, man. B Mello.
Oh, B Mello, BB1,
Yep.
DJ Scene, Damon Knight.
DJ Scene.
Boy, I'm leaving a lot out. Tecumseh, oh man,
Come say
Tecumseh.
shout out to him. Yep.
I think you know him, Supreme. Oh man, there were so many DJs, and that was dope about the whole DJ thing, because basically a DJ needed a mixtape because he wanted to work at the clubs. So we were the only place in the city that had a CD burner. So you could go in there, do your set, and we would record it on the CD, and then we would edit it, and then he would get that to go to the clubs. But if he was good enough, we would put him on the mixtape. Jake One, you guys know the super producer Jake One.
Heard of Jake One.
He's a DJ here out of Seattle, and he does stuff for Kanye, Kendrick,
It's fire.
Damn.
50. He did stuff for everybody, like everybody. He's very humble cat. He's super quiet. But he did one of our first mixtapes, and he brought this dude, this rapper named Cutfather.
Oh, rest in peace, right? He just passed away
Yeah,
not too long ago.
he was the dopest, yeah.
Yeah. And
He was
then
the best.
Blendiana Jones too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Topspin.
yeah,
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
you know Topspin, yep,
Topspin.
yep.
Topspin probably, man, that dude did more for us than I think
Yeah.
everybody. He
Yeah,
was
Barry's
in there
beast though.
every other week. That dude had a mix CD that we were pushing
Yep.
out there. He Yeah, he held us down. He always took care of us.
These all like the Seattle natives, like if you know kind of like thing, right?
Man, we probably sold his stuff for 20 years or something.
Crazy. That's fire.
He did it, and he was consistent. B Mello was real consistent in the beginning.
And he went up north. He's up in Behan, right? Bellingham.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. DJ Scene, I remember Scene, it was a DJ. And
Did you ever? I got one more. Four Color Zach. Was he ever around? Like
he was real young back then.
Was he already
started
big?
coming
Okay.
around, but I never got the pleasure of meeting him.
He's a huge
I met
name
him.
now. That's the reason why I asked.
He's huge.
He's huge now.
Yeah, I met him in passing a couple times.
I seen him in Seattle at Cap Hill one time, just out. My boy was like, "Yo, can I get a picture with you?" He's like, "You know who that is?" I was like, "No, I don't know who that is." He's like, "It's Four Color Zach, man." And he's like, really knew who he was. I didn't really know, but that's dope.
I will say that the biggest thing I think that we did at that time was the mixed CDs. That we would come out with mixed CDs so often. You knew just about every time you were going to get every other haircut, there was going to be a new mixtape at the shop. And we were selling them there, but, we love our guests, and we would just slide it to them.
That's a good idea, though.
I mean,
Even though people streaming now,
Yeah.
I still think there'd be more. I think they would have an opportunity to have a mixed CD from DJ Meat Chops.
or a playlist. Like it's the same
Yeah,
thing as
just
making a
playlist.
playlist. At the end of the day,
DJ Shoes in the Jar.
Shoes in the dry.
Yeah, nothing but beats. That really put us on the edge to where. Remember when we were younger and you would get a CD, a tape, and you would listen to the album. That embedded in your memory where you were,
Yeah.
and I almost feel like music isn't even appreciated the way it was back then.
It's just so much of it coming out. It's different.
But it's so many different aspects of freedom now.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, and open to information. So people's minds are really broad now. Back then, we were kind of closed. You had to be at home to get a phone call. Like you get the phone number. You know what I'm saying? You had to be at home to get a phone call. It's just was crazy back then. Now we got cell phones. Everybody has a mobile access at any given time. So it kind of broadened everything.
Don't get me started on the cell phones.
Yeah.
we already know you can't even have the phone in your hand when you're getting cut by a
Yeah, you
man.
can't even.
Man, you can. I'm not gonna trip on you for having a phone, but just
I'm not cutting you.
use it. I'm gonna give you your space.
Yeah.
So how are you at home with the phone, like with your family and things like that? Does it bother you there too?
I don't really. When I'm at home, it's about. That's
Home time, huh?
Yeah, I won't touch my phone. I'm gonna touch it until right before I go to bed. I'll check it.
Gotcha.
But then there was a time that you wake up in the middle of the night or whatever, and I realized how addictive that social media is. And
Yeah,
that's a major problem, man. I catch myself on that thing 4 a.m. Gotta be
Scrolling.
at work at 8, and I'm like, what is the matter with you? Like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
What controls you?
Yeah.
Like, I would talk to myself in the mirror. Like, I'd be like, hey, man, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? You're tripping. Like,
That's a fact.
man, I have long talks with myself about that. Those, you got to make sure you got a limit on there.
Yeah, phone's an addiction for sure.
It is.
But they do it. They design it that way on purpose. The people that invested in Apple were going to Jobs and the other millions that he had to design that shit. And he said, why are my kids fucking addicted to this phone? Why'd you do that?
Figured it out.
Like, that's the whole purpose. That's the purpose. I mean, what's you leave the house. You can leave anything at the house, but you leave your phone.
Oh my God! Turning around in the freeway. I'm turning around the freeway. I'm not even getting off the exit.
Even if you're an hour out, you're gonna go all the way
You
back
turn on
to
the
your
freeway,
phone.
going the wrong way.
Yeah.
I've gotten to work with no phone, and then you see everybody on their phone. It's like, damn. You just feel lost for a second. Like I don't know what to do. You know.
Nah, I can't leave home without my.
I used to just let my phone. I cut my phone off for like a month, and to just have no internet. If I had Wi-Fi, I guess. But once soon as I leave, I can't use my phone. And like that first week would be hard, but then it's like I'm getting cleansed of the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm getting
start
back to
taking
reality.
off.
Yeah, I feel like it's healthy. You got to get away from that phone, like you was kind of like you talking
I
about.
think we have signs in the shop that actually say no phones, no photos in the shop. And I think that kind of, like if somebody's new, the first thing they do is whip out their phone. And it looks like I'm just making an assumption that's
Looks like they
wrong
might
on my part, but it looks like they're about to start taking pictures.
or
And all of a
video
sudden
or
they
something.
see,
Like they're taking a video. Like
Snapchat,
Yeah.
bro. We doing this right now. I'm doing that right now. Yo, we here with my man V.
yeah.
Nah, you get all mad. Nah, good. We're not doing that.
No, I don't care stuff like that. But when it comes down to business, it's like okay. One of the biggest things that we have is a place to escape from today's society. There's no place for a man. Where's a man going to go?
Right.
You go get a massage. That's a massage parlor is designed by women for women. Men are welcome there, but it's not for men. And you feel that when you go in there. You can feel that vibe. Where can a man go? A bar?
Barbershop.
Nah, yeah, you're right.
Is he really relaxing at a bar, or is he feeling whatever emotion that he walked in there with?
Right.
Is he feeding that? I want a place that you escape from today's stresses. You unwind, relax, vibe out. Everybody says that's never been there before. Man, it feels incredible in here. The vibe in here is incredible. This is just glorious. I love it. It's just incredible. That's one of the biggest things that sets us apart right there. That's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, that's dope.
The chairs. So the barber chairs that we got, these chairs are 80 years old, cast iron and porcelain, leather and chrome.
Heavy duty, yeah.
So I took them apart. I was like, well, you buy them and they're all locked up and frozen. And you're like, okay, well, the guy wants $1,000. Be like, I'm not giving you $1,000. This thing doesn't even work.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I'm going to get it fixed, but I work on old cars, so I was like, I'm going to figure it out, right? And I said, oh, the internet, right? I'm going to go to the internet. Go look up the
YouTube University.
Yeah.
J. Padar barber chair from like 1939, right?
Yeah, 1940s.
Yep.
There's all kinds of stuff that show up, but there's no manuals, there's no instructions, there's
Right.
nobody taking them apart, there's nobody rebuilding them. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the library, right? Go to the library, there's nothing there except magazine advertisements. So I said, okay, no problem. I'm going to go to University of Washington Library, right? They got everything. Nothing.
Dang.
So basically, I just did it like a car. I just took every piece off, I numbered it, and I bagged it, and I took a picture. And so I took everything apart and I had everything in pieces. And then so I
Lubed it and put it back together.
tore out the cylinder. I couldn't get the cylinder. This is a crazy story. I couldn't get the cylinder to work, right? So I go down to the shipyard where all the boats are in the marina because who uses more hydraulics than a boat, right? That's everything on a boat's hydraulic. So I asked those guys, where do you guys take hydraulics, right? And they said Northwest Hydraulics up in Magnolia. So I found this place and I'm walking in there. I got this cylinder. This thing's like 45 pounds on my shoulder. And I'm walking in there and they're like, yo, Valentine, what's up, man? You bringing us a barber chair cylinder? And I'm like, oh, you guys work on these? And they said, no, we don't work on those. I'm like,
How you know what it
How
is?
you even know what it
how
was?
do you know what this is? And they said, well, what else would you bring in here? And I said, yo, how do you know who I am? And the dude took his hat off and he goes, when I had hair, you used to cut me all the time when I was younger.
Yeah,
And I was like, when was that? And he's like, 20 years ago. And I was like,
1940.
damn. I think it was 42, actually. I think it was 42.
That's crazy.
43. And he said, give us a cylinder. Give me a couple days and I'll call you up. And the guy called me up in an hour and said it's fixed. They freeze up because the oil never gets changed,
Right.
and all the
If
metal
they
shavings.
never get used. They just sitting there. The settlements just stay where they are, and then they lock up.
And the metal shavings,
Yeah.
when it goes to that brake in the cylinder, when it gets put on, that metal shavings lock it up.
Yeah.
And especially if they never use it. And so all these things were frozen. So I was able to take them all apart. And I got leather from Nicaragua. I got like half a hide of leather for, I think it was $35. A half a hide of leather in the States is $850.
Insane.
That's crazy.
And it's that super, super thin leather. This stuff is a real cowhide. It's that real super thick, durable stuff.
Getting better quality for what, 35? You said.
$35. $35. It's crazy. It's
That
crazy.
markup.
Did you have to stretch it?
No,
Did you do the reupholstering?
I do
Right.
on cars, but I didn't do those chairs. Well, and then I got everything. I met this guy at a chrome shop, and then he's been chroming everything for us.
Redipping. That's right.
So our chairs literally look brand new.
That's fire.
That's fire.
They weigh 360
Yeah,
pounds.
I've lifted my fair share of those ones. The
They-
porcelain ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a base of a bottle fall on the top of somebody's foot, lifting it into the van. We was boom.
They break their
The
feet.
bottom broke out. It landed on his toe, and all the oil started spilling out. It was embarrassing.
Did he break his toe?
Surprisingly, no. This dude's huge though. He's like 270.
We got strong toes.
Yeah, strong feet, just period.
Those big guys got strong
Just
toes.
270. But it brought him down to a tier, man. I'm sorry for you, man. He knows who he is. I ain't gonna say his name, but
He
then
knows.
it brought it. If he sees this episode, he knows I'm talking about him. But I
Yeah.
ain't gonna say his name. But yeah, it's fine.
Ryan Lewis hired us for a wedding.
DJ producer, Ryan Luke?
Yeah, for Mac.
Yep.
And so I took apart the barber chairs and brought him out there to Leavenworth. He got a little spot over there. And we set up outside. I got pictures. I'll show you guys of that. But we set up outside these two barber chairs, like 85-year-old barber chairs outside on his deck that overlooked this grass field in the big mountain in the background. It was like, where the are we? This was crazy. Macklemore shows up, and he's like, you care if I take a couple pictures? And I was like, no, it's cool, go ahead. I said, do what you can. He goes, you know who I am, right? And I was like, yeah, man, we know who you are. City loves you. Yeah, man, yeah, I know. And he goes, you don't remember me? And I was like, no. I played it off, of course. I said, yeah. I know, I remember you. And he goes, you used to cut me.
Oh.
And I
okay.
said, what? I did? And all of a sudden I stopped. And I was like, yo, wait a minute, man. I was like, you were hella quiet. I said, you used to come in there with that dumb fuck. I was like, who's that dude that you used to come in here with all the time? Some fake rapper. Cat always talked he was from the hood and shit. He always said that shit. And coming in his fucking private school uniform. Shut the fuck up.
He was
man.
gangster in the private school uniform.
Yo, man, this cat was so corny. He would get so mad that he would leave. He wouldn't even get his haircut because the whole shop would turn
Clown-
apart. He
clown
was just a clown,
roast.
dog. And he would be like, "Yo, man, come on, man, we're leaving." Mac's like, "Nah, dog, I came here to get my haircut. You're tripping." He goes, "You could leave. I'll meet you at the spot." He goes, "I'm here to get a haircut." And so he didn't say nothing. Mac was he was quiet. You know, he talked about rap a little bit, talk about stuff he was working on.
He made it though. He's out of there. Was out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he just became this dude, and it was like, whoa, shit, damn. I totally forgot I cut him off.
Quiet storm. I did I was not necessarily security, but I was like off guard security at one of his shows, one of his first shows in Marysville. Never seen it coming. He had talent though on the stage, but I never seen him going to the levels. I never imagined that at that time that he would be where he is.
He could really interact with the crowd. That was always
Yeah, he had
even
good stage presence, and yeah, he was.
before he ever made it. This dude Grinch would always pull him up on stage, and damn, just how he would connect with the crowd coming out of the crowd onto the stage was just mind blowing. It was just insane to see stuff like that. But Grinch, I don't know if you guys know about Grinch. That's the guy. That's the guy. He comes out with some fire, man.
Can we just, like we were talking about, should we just talk about maybe just get your opinion on the way barbershops are right now as far as communication, and maybe if you have a message about coming together and stop being, I guess, competitive-wise, and maybe start being a little bit more open
Inclusive.
to doing things like this, you know what I mean? Maybe just give them your message.
Dude, I was hot. I was hot at everybody. If you cut hair out of your garage part-time on a Sunday, I was coming for you. You're in my neighborhood doing this, I'm going to burn your shop down. I'm going to burn your garage down. I don't care. You're a competition.
Yeah.
And it took me years to realize that there's no such thing as competition. The competition is inside your head.
It's you.
There's so much. If we came together as a culture, as a society, as barbers, if we came together, do you realize where we would be at? Like Merv was telling me, he dawned on me, but it brought me all the way back to the beginning. I was working in the Supercuts for Hairmasters. I was working at Hairmasters for a couple months. Man, I had this incredible woman that worked there. This woman taught me to go outside the box and think. She would take hair, twist it, and then slide cut it. Twist the hair. Twist it. So she would take a part of it. Man, she showed me stuff that was just mind-blowing. And I actually always told people she's the one who taught me how to cut hair. She gets mad when I say that, but I'm like, you did.
That's a form of point cutting.
Yeah, she showed me some epic stuff. So, but I remember there, and I always questioned, how can a place that does the worst haircuts be the biggest in the world?
Yeah.
And how do they take all of the money from the person working, and that person still stays there?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they,
Yes.
no benefits, no, I mean, there's probably benefits now, but back in those days, dude, they humiliated their staff. But I always said, and Merv brought it up to me, and it put the light bulb back on. If we came together, those spots will be ours.
Yeah.
They're all owned by corporations
Yeah.
that don't give a fuck about a haircut
Ever.
or the people that work there. And you can feel it when you walk in there.
I mean, launch is what, like 20 minutes for a cut? They're trying to get you in and out in like 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
15, 20 minutes.
I met this guy, and he was cutting. I was at some high-end men's clothing shop up on Queen Anne, and there's a barber chair in there. And there's a barber shop in there, and the guy is cutting, and I was like, "Oh, this is dope." You know, there's like $500 jeans in there. I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't shopping there,
Yeah.
but I was tripping. There was a barber shop in there, and this guy's cutting, and I'm watching him, right? And all of a sudden, he takes them big dogs, them Oster 76s, them big dudes, right?
Yeah.
And this dude is lining up around his ear. And I said, yo,
Stop.
you're using them dogs to line up around the air? And the guy looks at me, and he winks at me, and he goes, that's how barbers do it. And I was like, ooh, you must be good. And he goes, been working at Rudy's for 10 years. And I was like, oh, you're really good. And he goes, yeah, I cut hair in 10 minutes. What?
Dang.
He goes, why are you asking so many questions? I said, oh, I cut hair. And he goes, where you work at? I said, I work down the street at Valentine's. He goes, Valentine's? He goes, man, that dude's such a fake. I was like, oh, you know that guy? He goes, yeah, I know him. I said, I don't get it. What's the problem? And he goes, man, that he's a punk, man. He's a gangster, and he's coming up in here and thinking he's all high society, catering to rich folks. And I was like,
That's what y'all think about me, huh?
I was like, I don't think he's like that. I said he's very opinionated. He knows where he's from. He knows where he's going. But I said I don't know about that. I said, once you come through, man, I'm there all the time. He's like, what's your name? I'm like, Stefan Fabi. Come check me out. And so he started coming in the shop, right? And he was like, wow, this place is incredible.
Yeah.
But I always looked at this dude, was like, he thinks he's good because he cuts hair in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But Rudy's or any corporation, that's when you get rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
So you think you're good if you cut hair in 10 minutes.
Yeah. They create an incentive behind it.
I do know some people. There, Isaiah at Supremes, that dude could do one of the baddest fades I ever seen in 6 minutes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They got those
you know,
coming.
he trained. He did it. He's done that for 25 years. I mean, he's not playing around.
Yeah.
That's
You
crazy.
get straight to the meat. If you learn how to get straight
6,
to the meat,
bro.
you can cut that time.
Messes.
My fastest,
8-minute ball fade, 6-minute ball fade.
Yeah, my fastest flawless fade is 10 minutes. But I don't like to cut. I don't like to keep cutting fast. I don't cut fast like that. I like to take my time. A half hour, 45-minute cut. Yeah, get into the
10
detail. I like to get into
6
the
minutes.
details. Yeah, 6 minutes is burning.
The head's still smoking when you get up, bro.
Burning them up.
That's if he's really pushing it. Like he's
6-minute ball fade, bro.
he's something else. That
That's-
dude's probably one of the dopest. So, what I think that whole thing about what's going on today, I wish we had the connection to social media, that connection. I wish we had that. And we have it and we use it and we're friends with a lot of people. But I'm not sure what we need to do to bring it together.
Yeah.
I definitely think there needs to be more. There's a guy named, I don't know if you guys know Abel, out there in the Tri-Cities. He owns Complex Barbershop. That kid is one of the only dudes I know that brings people together from all over the place. Like, he's incredible.
Sounds like we need to talk to him.
He reaches out to people through social media, and he gets them to be guest spots at his place. And then he does the same thing out there, and they do these networks.
That's pretty interesting concept right there.
Any shout outs, man? This ain't the end. I just want to make sure you get some shout outs in, you know what I'm saying? We know we're going to do a part 2, I think.
How to make an appointment with Valentine, you know how to tap in.
Just call up the shop, I guess. Email.
Email.
Online book.
Smoke signal. Oh, we definitely got on
Yeah,
booking. Oh, yeah. Online
yeah.
booking. You could do, what any way social media. I mean, I get with we got. That's one thing I don't like. We have so many different ways to connect with somebody that you never connect with somebody. I don't know how many times
It's
somebody's
true.
like, yo, man, I hit you up on Instagram. What account do you hit me up on?
Yeah.
I got 4 accounts, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I don't, like, how do you keep, there's too many things.
How do you
There's too
book an
many
appointment with Valentine, though?
things. I'm not really taking new people, but I mean, I guess if you,
So you got
it's a wait. Like, I could probably get you in a month.
so they call you directly, like.
Oh, no. You just call the shop, talk to the receptionist.
Oh, you got a shop
So,
phone. Okay.
Go online, and I don't have my online booking isn't available
Okay.
on there at all. Yeah, that would Nah, see my staff. See my staff.
Yeah, just trying to get you plugged in. That's all.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate
He's
it.
not taking no new.
Yeah.
Wood, you cannot get your mustache lined up over there.
I'll help you out, man.
He's not taking.
There's a guy, one of the Seahawks hit us up, and he said that he's been struggling to get. So he hit us up like I guess at 10 in the morning, right? I didn't see it until I think I was on lunch at 2, and I don't normally check it, but my daughter's in Nicaragua right now, so I contacted her through Instagram. Probably shouldn't be doing that, but I contacted her and I seen that we had a message, and I was like, "Yo!" And the dude from the Seahawks said that he's been struggling around Seattle to get a haircut, and he heard that he should probably come check us out. And I knew it was 2:00, and I was like, "There's no way this dude's waiting around to get cut." And so I hit him up and I said, "Hey, I apologize. We don't check this as we can." And he goes, "Don't worry, I'm going to come back next week." He goes, "I'll walk in next week." And I said, "We don't have anything available." I said, "I will make some time for you in the evening." I said, "We'll stay open up to get you in." I said, "Do you know what day?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "How about Thursday night?" I was like, "Yeah." Does he want to get in there? He's like, "Yeah, about 6:37." And I was like, "Okay, let's do 7:30." And so he got in. But he said he had just went and got cut. He said, "You guys didn't contact me." So once again, it's like, dude, there's too many forms, man. There's too many forms. We got him in, and he was blown away because he's losing his hair, right? And so we specialize in working with somebody's hair structure to where it doesn't look like they're enhancing the recession of their hair. And so we specialize in that. So the biggest thing is when somebody's really light in these corners, it's really heavy right here.
Right.
So you go in with your shears and you point cut, comb it down, point cut, because you want to thin out this front like the sides, and then bring those sides up just a touch. And then all of a sudden, everything looks balanced. It doesn't look like he's heavy in the center and light on the sides.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen a lot.
He
of
was
different-
blown away.
A lot of different things. All right, so here at the Barber Game, man, we got this a Barber Game challenge, and we challenge our fellow barbers to save $20 a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks out of the year. It turns out to be about $5K at the end of the year. Do you think that's how do you feel about that? Did you do something similar to that? How does that correlate to today's inflation and all that? And do you think that would be helpful, or would it be like what's your opinion on that?
I think that's probably one of the greatest things that somebody could do, because everybody, what did they say, 97% of people living today live credit card to credit card, debt to debt.
Or paycheck to pay, yep.
Paycheck to paycheck. Like they have nobody has any money anymore. And I
They do is just poor money management.
try not to get into the whole conspiracy thing, but they say that we are about to hit a major recession this year. And it's like, if you're not,
We're already in it.
have you guys noticed that? It's
We're
going
already
down.
in it. It's going down as we speak.
So that's one thing that we'll do is we definitely adjust our prices accordingly. Like, if somebody's not working or we're going to adjust our prices, because I remember when 2008 came, we dropped our prices down. And, some folks we were helping out that couldn't get a job. That's, but yeah, there's nothing better that you can do right now is to do
save,
that.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That is definitely the biggest thing. That is the best idea I think I've ever heard. I need to do that with my staff. I think that, but my staff is, man, they're money wise. I mean, one of the girls, she owns a couple of houses and rents them out, and I don't even wonder why she's still cutting hair, but she's doing it.
That's fire.
That is far.
Fire. That's fire.
It's funny. She'll get her tips, and she's like, "Oh, yeah." Obviously, some of the cash goes to cash tips. Not that the government wouldn't get their part of that money, but she says, "Oh yeah, I have safe to where I keep all my cash. She's like, I probably have 20 grand in there. And I'm like, you got 20 grand in cash? I was like,
Fire.
what are you talking about? She's like, oh, just from all my tips. My cash tips that she gets.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't spend your cash tips? She's like, no.
That's fine.
She has her normal savings from her paychecks.
Right.
And I was like, damn, she's
Filthy. That's dope.
she's ahead. She's really ahead.
What are some goals you have moving forward from where you're at now? Do you plan on doing anything new, expanding, or anything like that?
Working on a shop right now in Nicaragua. I have a little small shop down there right now, but I'm definitely looking to expand it. Or actually I'm going back old school. We're doing the graffiti on the wall, putting a DJ booth in there.
Mm.
It's gonna be huge. For some reason, them kids really love '90s hip hop. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I probably have
That's where the fire at.
13,000 records from the '90s.
You're gonna kill it down there.
Yeah.
You got more records than Tecumseh? His collection's crazy.
I think he has a little more than me. I
Okay.
do.
I seen his. That's fire.
You got all vinyl.
Yeah.
He got his 45 collection. Is just nuts too. He's like, like dang, bro.
That dude is incredible,
Yeah,
man.
he's crazy.
He's something else, and he's so quiet. I ended up going to
Nasty at
Mexico.
DJing, too.
I went to Costa Rica with him, and I was their photographer, and man, them kids are the hip hop dog is so worldwide.
Yeah.
It is insane.
It's huge.
You guys know about the Massive Monkeys, right? Out of Seattle.
Yeah.
Them dudes have won the world title like 5 times.
What, dancers?
Yeah.
break
the
dance.
break crew.
Yeah. Right now, they're training all the new, younger generation because this is going to be in the Olympics next year.
What,
So
break
Massive
dance?
Monkeys are training all their young cats for the Olympic team.
That's fire.
It's going to be crazy. But United States is one of the only countries in the world that don't sponsor. So you guys got to donate to these people because they ain't got. All other countries, they're financially backed by the government. The United States is the only one that will not back their people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of scandalous.
It is kind
For the
of.
Olympics, you mean?
Yeah, for the
Wow, that's
Olympics.
heavy. That's
Yeah.
heavy. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even thought about something like
Yeah,
that.
no.
To be honest, I would have just assumed that it was already taken care of.
Yeah, you know.
You know.
Man, if the United States did, we would dominate the world if that happened
10 times over.
with all our drugs, steroids, and techniques and shit, and you would never stop.
What do you feel like is the most talked about barbershops in Washington?
Abel's Complex Barbershop in the Tri-Cities, I think, is probably number one. There's a huge, what's the guy's name that used to cut Russell's hair?
I know who you're talking about.
He came from the Tri-Cities. He used to drive out here all the time to cut up Russell. That dude just opened a shop in the city. That place is real respected. Right now, I'm gonna have to say probably the number one spot right now is the Scotch Pine. The work that those guys are doing. What's crazy
That's in
is one of
Seattle?
the girls that I trained owned that, but now I guess she doesn't own it anymore. These dudes own it. Barber named Stubby and Yoshi. Man, these guys, they're next level, man.
I think I heard of Yoshi before, but this is in Seattle.
This is in Seattle, down on Madison.
Yoshi.
That place, I would probably say is the best. The head shop down
heard
in
of Head Shop.
Soto.
Yeah, Soto. Yep.
Their work is just legendary. I don't think somebody could touch the work that's coming out of that shop. There's this new cat I'm getting ready to go see. I met him on Instagram. I really try to holler at the new barbers coming out. This young guy's got a spot in downtown Bellevue. I'm gonna go see him on Monday, tomorrow. I'm gonna go check him out. He has a real nice shop. He got a bar up in there.
Oh, yeah, he's about to kill it.
I was like, you got a bar? I was like, what? Word?
How he pull that off?
No kids, maybe.
He's a kid and pulling a bar.
I'm saying no kids in the shop.
Well, I'm just saying, how did he pull that off though? Like being a kid, or a younger barber, like basically.
He was determined, had mission. He had focus. He knew what he was doing. I mean, some people they come out, they're set. I knew the minute that I graduated hair school, I was at a bus stop and somebody was telling me about Flavor Flav had 3 barbershops in New York, and I was like, your hair is so bust. How can you own a barbershop? You see how busted his hair was? He would take his hat off.
Yeah.
It's the 90s and 80s, man.
Nah, that's no excuse. That's no excuse. Nah,
The
nah,
90s suck, man. Look at them look at them ball players. You see them ball players in the 90s? Nobody had a clean cut.
So that's what's happening today. That's what's happening today.
No,
Yeah.
today these cats don't even want to cut their hair. Do you see? Man, I don't even want to get into it.
Yeah, they don't be
Being
They want
a lot of
to
these
super
kids, you're like,
raunchy
and just
and
the
bad
hair
head.
is just.
Yeah, bad head.
What are you doing? Like you.
What about you guys? What do you think? I would definitely say Merv shops. I mean,
I've heard about a couple of these places like the Head Shop. I know
I heard of that
a couple
shop.
guys over there. Leon, shout out to Leon. He's over there.
Joel's over there.
Joel's over there, yeah.
Yep.
There's a few people.
I heard of Yoshi before as being like,
Yoshi is next level, man. Yo, that dude is the only one that I know that can rock the coldest ice fades and the long textures. That dude is just, I don't know where that dude came from. I just discovered him on Instagram the other day. And I was like, yo, where did this guy come from? But I guess he's from Chicago or somewhere. And he is trained by like all the masters. All of them. But Martin down at the head shop, that dude is, I would probably say he would probably get Yoshi. But Yoshi's a little more technical, just in today's society.
me coming from Chicago is more of a more diverse ethnic group coming out of there, and you got to have a certain level of skill set.
What's that guy's name? There's another shop downtown that opened up. It's called like Cutlass or Studebaker or something like that. It's a name of a car. Valiant. It's called Valiant Barbershop. Have you heard about
I've
that?
heard of them, yeah.
Yo,
I have heard of them.
man, the work them dudes are doing.
We got to get some of those guys on.
They're putting. Man, I
Interview.
apologize. I don't remember what his name is. Real big guy, man. That dude's huge, and he just does the most incredible detailed work and the delicate touch. And I was like, I just think you'd be just banging people around. But that dude is. Oh, he's nice, and he's really gotten into photography too. Man, I apologize. I don't know what his name is. I met him a couple of times. He's good. That dude's good.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, man. I really appreciate you guys having me here. It's definitely an honor. I never spoke anything about our history.
Have you ever been interviewed before?
Yeah, a lot of times, but everything was just in print or a magazine or something. They would never. I don't think I've ever heard my voice before.
Okay.
No. I would also duck out and hide from it. I didn't, because
Yeah.
I don't like being out there like that. I think when I was younger, I did. I really liked that kind of attention, but now I just don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to come back here. I want to let's do some work, because I really want to start showing cats like how easy this hair is, and don't be afraid of that hair dryer. That hair dryer is going to be your best friend.
Yeah, it's your best
I
friend.
think barbers definitely need that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that
that's fine.
longer skill. So, yeah, it'd be great if you come back, give some pointers. And even maybe just the eye of what you're looking at, so people could try to see what you see, you know what I'm saying, when you look at a cut.
And understand.
Break it down, yeah, right. So, yeah, we definitely have some more time next time.
Yeah, for sure.
Be able to get more into it.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's do it. We could do it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
We fire.
That would be fire, actually.
That would be fire. Yeah.
Hey, you guys can come out to the shop too. We do the next one at the shop.
Yeah, we definitely gonna come out to the shop.
That'd
I
be
want to
lit.
check it out.
Yeah.
I definitely
So I want
wanna
to see
see.
it. I want to see it.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
you.
for
I
sure.
appreciate
No, I
it.
appreciate you for coming, bro. For real.
That concludes this week's episode. Tune in next week and check us out at thebarbergame.com.